Morning, Joby.
Morning, Gordon.
How are you?
I'm very well indeed. How are you?
Excellent. Not too bad on this miserable rainy day.
Yeah.
But let me just quickly introduce you. Joby Mussell, who is Chief Commercial Officer of Travel Chapter, who are one of the leading holiday letting agencies in the UK. Thanks for sparing the time to have a chat. We already work with Original Cottages, and a lot of our members will be used to them and know who they are. Maybe you could just put a bit of context as to who Travel Chapter are and where that fits in with Original Cottages and also holidaycottages.co.uk.
Yeah, sure. So Travel Chapters are our parent brand. We made the acquisition of Original Cottages earlier on this year. So it's been pulled into our wider portfolio of brands. Holiday Cottages are a big national brand, and combined right across the portfolio, we've got in excess of 15,000 properties, probably close to 1,000 staff now, 40 plus offices across the UK. And as I said, a mix of those national and regional brands, and regional brands such as Sally's Cottages up in the Lake District through to Cornish Horizons down in Cornwall. And we're a full managed agency, so we can take care of a property right through from the cleaning, maintenance to the marketing and booking of a property. But our kind of mission is to showcase the best places in the UK.
Okay, brilliant. And that's all, just to be absolutely clear, that's all third-party owned properties, and you come in and
we don't own the properties. No, we're an agent. We represent owners and their properties.
Brilliant. And I'm guessing probably, well, one of the few businesses who had a bit of a bumper year or bumper couple of years during COVID. I'm sure the market was pretty buoyant. How is the sort of UK staycation market at the moment?
Yeah, so probably like a lot of businesses over the last couple of years, it's been quite a turbulent time. And we went through kind of many different peaks and troughs of restrictions where UK holidays couldn't take place at all.
Yeah. And
then we saw very much kind of that pent up demand coming out of those periods and record booking levels. And I think what we're seeing now is a return to kind of normality, kind of pre-COVID levels. However, that we're still seeing very much strong demand right across the board, because I think there's still uncertainty and disruption with flights and airlines, which is pushing more demand into kind of that UK staycation market. But in terms of booking levels for us, we're 12% ahead of where we were this time last year in 2021, and 77% ahead in terms of bookings pre-COVID back in 2019. So it's still a very buoyant market. And I think the other thing which we're seeing is a lot of holiday owners, investors continuing to come into the market and increase the supply into the market. And we're seeing record levels of new owners listing their properties through all of our portfolio of brands.
That's brilliant. I mean, that's quite interesting numbers. I'm guessing in many ways, COVID made people kind of fall in love with the UK again and actually work out that staycations were the thing to do.
Yeah, I think you're right, because people weren't holidaying overseas for the last kind of couple of years, and they were in many instances forced, if they wanted to take a holiday, to go across the UK and started to discover the beauty of holidaying in the UK again. And we have so many fantastic places, whether it's up in the Lake District or the beaches down in Cornwall. And I think we anticipate a trend moving forward where people have now holidayed again in the UK. They will probably continue to holiday in the UK, even if that's supplementing their overseas holiday. And certainly that's what we've started to see this year, where people are returning overseas, but they're also taking that cottage holiday, whether that be in the Easter holidays, the summer, or booking into kind of the October half-term period. We are seeing trends slightly shift and a different demographic. So I think that younger demographic, probably looking kind of 18 to 24-year-olds, they would always kind of want to go to a beach holiday overseas. And again, they've now experienced going on holiday in the UK. And we've seen a younger demographic coming and booking through all of our brands, which is an interesting trend as well.
Yeah, very interesting. And so let's say I'm a property owner. I've got a holiday cottage, and I'm looking for the first time to let it out. What advice would you give me?
Be prepared to commit time and energy. I mean, it can be very fulfilling, and the rental returns can be very lucrative, particularly in comparison possibly to typically kind of residential letting. But there needs to be a commitment there. And I think that's where agencies such as ourselves can support and help, whether that be through the initial kind of property setup, which could be the pricing, the photography, all the way through to kind of actually operating the holiday let property itself through the cleaning, the maintenance, etc., and that guest support. So I think, as I said, we are seeing more owners coming into the market because it's enticed more people as an investment opportunity. But you do need to be prepared to invest some time. And if that's a problem, then use an agency. There's lots of platforms where you can do it yourself, but as agencies play a very valuable role there, where they can kind of take all that hassle and heavy lifting away from an owner.
Yeah, and I guess that's right. And what sort of factors do you think? So if I'm again renting out my holiday home, what factors will influence kind of what I can charge or the return on investment, if you like?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing which is key is know your audience, right? Who are you targeting? Because targeting a family to a couple is very, very different. So if the property needs to be set up for a family, it's going to need enclosed gardens. It's going to need high chairs, cots, etc. And if it's a couple, then they tend to like other features like hot tubs, for example. So I think firstly, know your audience, which is really kind of key. I think secondly, make sure the property's got good quality, high standard of furnishings. I think the bar's been raised and people want almost like hotel quality when they go and stay in a self-catering property. The market's moved on dramatically over recent years, and people want those kind of high standards. I think also be willing to accept pets. I think certainly through the COVID period, more and more people purchase pets. Over 45% of our bookings are with a dog. So it broadens that appeal if you're willing to accept a pet. Yeah. I think short breaks as well. I think that's really important. Over 30% of our bookings are for short breaks, particularly in those periods of the year outside of the kind of the peak times through kind of autumn, winter. Again, it just kind of spreads your bookings throughout the year. And then other things like installing a log burner. Again, that creates that appeal throughout the year rather than just kind of in the peak summer months. And hot tubs. That always seems to be really popular. Right. Actually, not just with couples, with families as well. And properties with hot tubs typically generate, on average, an extra 5 bookings per year. So it can certainly generate a higher income for you.
And good Wi-Fi.
And good Wi-Fi, but that's almost standard now.
Yeah, no, 100%.
It's like totally. I know in the past that would be a kind of a key feature that we would add on all of our property listings. We're even discussing removing that now because that's just a standard expectation. And it's interesting, again, coming through COVID, there was more of a trend of these workations where people would actually go and book a holiday cottage and combine work with a holiday. And again, obviously then Wi-Fi is absolutely essential for them to be able to do that. Yeah, interesting, isn't it? It is interesting, yeah. Because actually, I'm guessing also there's a market out there who want to get away from Wi-Fi, who just want to find themselves. Well, you do. You just shut yourself off to the outside world. You're not going to get your children to come. That's for sure. Well, there is that. Yeah, they're going to be glued to their iPads. Exactly. That all sounds great. Tell me, so there's obviously a number of competitors in your market for you. What would you say, maybe 2 or 3 points that make Holiday Cottages different from other agents? Yeah, I mean, I think we all offer, fairly similar services. We can market your property, we can deal with the bookings and handle the guests. And some agencies will also provide those managed services, which I mentioned earlier on, which is the cleaning, caretaking, maintenance. But I think where we differentiate ourselves, we absolutely pride ourselves on the service that we deliver to both our customers, the guests that stay in the properties, and the owners. And how do we do that? So our model's slightly different from some of our competitors. Every owner has a dedicated personalized account manager that will be responsible for that one-to-one relationship and optimizing the performance of that property, which in real terms means generating more bookings. Yeah, I think we're quite unique in the sense that, yes, we're a national company. We have over 15,000 properties, but we're still very local. We have over 40 offices across the UK. We have local teams that can support those owners and those guests on the ground, and I think that's really important, and that reassures both guests and owners. So I think those are kind of the key things that kind of really kind of separates us, and it's the quality aspect that runs all the way through that we do, whether that be the portfolio, so whether that be the service that we provide to both our guests and owners. It's important to us, in terms of how we deliver those services.
Yeah, and I also understand that you're quite busy in stuff that you do within the communities where your properties are located. Is that right? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
And I think that certainly going through COVID, it's been quite a hot topic. Second homes. And I think our position is that we believe protecting the UK and supporting communities, local communities, is vitally important, and particularly when we're putting guests into these local communities. And I think done the right way with the right balance, it can help local economies, it can create jobs within those particular areas. But also we do a lot on a national level. We work with large national charities like the RSPB, the Marine Conservation Society, and we do support a lot of local initiatives as well. Lake District Foundation being one kind of example. But I think it's important we get to strike the right balance. So we do intentionally try to be very active and support in any way we can, whether that be through local charities, those local communities. And again, that kind of sits at the heart of what we believe in as a business.
Yeah, really refreshing to hear that. Actually, it's a good story. And so let's say anyone watching this who has a property they'd like to rent out through an agency, they should contact who? Holiday Cottages? It's probably the best starting point. The website address is holidaycottages.co.uk. If you go to our website, you'll be directed through to the right pages to be able to inquire with us, get more information around letting a property and what that involves, and then we'll be happy to talk to you. There's no obligation. We can even come out and meet you at your property and give you an appraisal, an insight around what kind of revenue returns it could generate, and that's free of charge. There's no commitment there. We're happy to do that. So if you want to know more, go to the Holiday Cottages website. Lots of great content on there, and if it's of interest, then obviously please do reach out. Brilliant. All right, Jamie. Well, look, thanks. I know you're a busy man, so thanks so much for sparing the time to chat with us today. And let's hope those numbers keep ticking up. Yeah, fantastic. Thanks, Gordon. Right. Thanks for your time. Lovely to see you. And you. Cheers. Bye-bye.